What's up, guys? My name is Graylan Stewart. I am a real estate investor. I'm a wholesaler. We do fix and flips, buy and holds. We do it all, but our main core business is wholesaling real estate. So thanks for joining me. Today, I'm going to dig into a little bit of lead follow-up. I just have a handful of leads in our system, but we are hiring, we just hired several new reps. So they got to kind of learn the ropes. So I'm doing some live cold calling here on YouTube, so you can enjoy it as well, and they can learn too. So stay tuned. All right, let's get into it. Hopefully y'all can hear this. I'm actually outside in my pergola outside making these calls because it's a beautiful day, so why not? And here we go. I'm going to try to call this. Make sure I got the right phone number selected first. If y'all are wondering, I do have a CRM called Podio, which is pretty standard in the business. And we use smartphone that's integrated into our Podio. I like smartphone because it's made for Podio. So I do have links to these, in the description if you're interested in those, because they are great tools that we use all day, every day. So let me call this customer, this seller. Her name is Brittany. She's actually got a house in Oklahoma City.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach.
So, rule of thumb, it's our company standard to call 3 times in a row and then send a text. Because, believe it or not, sometimes the second or third call they answer.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
All right, that's 2. Third try, she might get annoyed, but she might answer.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
All right, she don't want to hear from me. I'm going to leave her a text. Just says, hey, Brittany, give me a call when you get a chance. And I'm going to move on to the next one. So this next lead, let's see. There's certain people that I've got that I need to call. So here's another one. This is Aaron or Rebecca.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated.
Nobody wants to answer their phone tonight. So right now it's 7:21 p.m. I'm in Colorado, Castle Rock, Colorado. And so Oklahoma's an hour ahead of us because they're Central Time. So it's actually 8:21 there. It's kind of borderline to be calling this late, but it's a Friday night, so you can give it a shot.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice.
All right, just gonna leave that at 2 calls on that one. Here's another lady here.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic.
Let's try her again. Hopefully we'll get out with someone.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice.
Not having great luck. Let's see. Here's the guy I think that'll answer. So this guy, just to give you a little background. So we do, first of all, we do nationwide wholesaling. Okay, our main channel of marketing at this point in time, this is late June of 2024. So what we do now is all inbound marketing. So in the past, I've done a little bit of everything, right? I've done, for a long time, we did 10 plus marketing channels at all times. because they all worked. Some of them worked better than others, but obviously, we just ended up, times change, marketing channels change. There's different things that come out. There's things that stop being effective. There's laws that go into place that kind of prevent you from doing certain things, right? So because of that, we mostly just do inbound. And honestly, inbound is where it's at anyways, because that's where, the super motivated people are, as opposed to outbound things like RVMs or SMS or cold calling or even direct mail. That's all outbound. That's almost you begging for a property, right? As opposed to inbound. Inbound leads are hotter because they're literally calling you. So they are reaching out to you because they need a solution to their problem, right? And their problem typically has to do with the house, right? Sometimes it's a seller problem, like their person is a problem that they're having issues, personally. Sometimes it's a problem with the house because of disrepair or, they inherited it or something like that. And oftentimes it's both, right? We got a super motivated seller because they have financial troubles or medical issues or whatever, but it's also a house problem as well. That the house needs a lot of repairs, which kind of goes hand in hand. If they're having financial trouble, they probably can't afford those repairs, and that's why they call us. So keep in mind, motivated sellers are going to give us giant discounts, mostly because they're willing to trade a little bit of equity for the time and convenience of it all, right? Because as cash buyers, wholesalers, we're offering quick closes, all cash, right? So, I like to think of it like this. We're the 7-Eleven of the housing market, right? So if you go to 7-Eleven because you need, you need one more pack of hot dogs for your grill or your cookout, you're going to go to 7-Eleven because it's around the corner. 7-Eleven is probably going to cost you $6 for that pack of hot dogs when you could have went to Walmart and paid $2.38, right? But it was the time and convenience that made me pay more. And it's the same thing with wholesaling. These sellers are willing to give up some equity because of the time and convenience of it, because they want it done fast so their headache goes away, right? So keep that in mind. I don't know how I got off on that, but that's the whole point. Is inbound leads, they typically are a hotter lead. However, you do have to hit those people quickly when you get the lead, because think about this. And when I say inbound, what we do mostly right now is PPC advertising, which is pay per click. In other words, it's Google AdWords, Google or Bing, right? So if you're paying for these ads online and they go to a squeeze page or a landing page or a funnel, whatever you want to call it, they end up on our website, and they fill out a form. So they usually either fill out a form or they call us, or they'll talk with our online chat, which is just an AI chatbot, honestly. But it feels like a human, because it's responding interactively and logically, right? Based on just AI. That's how that works, right? If you do it right. So most of the leads, however, come in as form fills, which means they actually filled out the form, put their address in, that they want to just sell for cash, right? So the point is, if somebody is actually Googling that I need to sell my house fast for cash, or cash buyers in my area, or sell my house quick, anything like that, that means they've got a pretty big motivation, right? So because of that, the speed to lead is even more important than any other lead source, like cold calling or SMS, direct mail, billboards, TV, whatever it is. I feel like pay-per-click advertising is probably the most motivated at the time that they're actually typing that. So that's why speed to lead is important, because if you don't answer, their call, if they call, or you don't respond to that form fill right away, then it's likely that you will never talk to them, or just never get the deal at all, because oftentimes they already found another solution. Because if they are that motivated, they're just going to keep going down the list on the internet until they get to the next person, right? So really, it's whoever calls them back first, or whoever, if they happen to call, it's whoever answers their phone first. So that's why it's super important, speed to lead on pay-per-click advertising. Okay, so I'm going to call this guy though This is a guy that I was super close with. I honestly think I've lost him at this point. You know, that's a lesson too, that I knew better. But sometimes you just can't get the price that you want. And I tend to be very stubborn, to really stick to my price, because, you know, that's part of sales too. You want to kind of stick to your guns so that they know that you're serious, and, you know, you're not always going back and forth and just coming up to their number. So I'm really good at getting these deals at a big discount, but I also probably lose a handful because I am so stubborn. Like, I was literally stuck on this guy at 120, and he 100% would have done the deal at 125. So this is a house in Moore, Oklahoma. The ARV on it is, you know, roughly 230,000, and it's a lipstick deal, you know, because it's only, I think it's like 10 years old or something like that. So it's a pretty good house. It needs a little work, obviously, but it's a super low rehab. You know, it's mostly just cosmetic stuff and, you know, updating that needs to happen. So I'm looking at the lead right now, but I mean, that's the thing. He's living basically paycheck to paycheck. He makes $1,100 a month, and his bill, you know, his mortgage is with about 800 and something, 830 or something like that. And then by the time he pays, you know, his utilities, he barely has money for food, right? So that was his main issue. He didn't have money to fix the repairs to be able to sell for top dollar. He also had his wife that passed away recently, so the house was too big for him, and he couldn't afford it on his own anymore because his wife was working. And at this point, he just needs to move on, right? So long story short, on this guy, yeah, he owes 58,000. So I'm like, okay, if I give you, you know, 120, you're going to walk away with 60 grand, basically. 40, 50, yeah, 60 grand. But you know, he was wanting, because he has a realtor in his ear. So that's the biggest issue, right? The realtor must be savvy. She must be an investor as well, because she offered to actually foot the bill for the rehab to get it fully renovated. So my system actually shows it's low remodel, and it's going to cost about $33,000. And that's based on a square footage of 1,504 square feet. So she was willing to foot the bill to be able to remodel this, and so that he can sell this for the top dollar of 230,000. I believe that's what the ARV is. Let me check real fast. Yeah, about 230,000. Sorry, that's a loud motorcycle out there. So she's going to foot the bill, pay for the repairs, and then they're going to split it. And she's telling him that he'll end up with, you know, closer to like 70. But I'm like, so you're going to go through all that all that trouble, you know, just to make a few thousand more dollars, you know? So, I mean, it was important to him, right? That's why if he ever did 125, he probably would have made 65 and probably done the deal. But the bad part is I thought I had him because her main caveat was he had to move out of the house immediately so that she could repair it and do the remodel. And he didn't have money to move out nor anywhere to go. So he was like, so if you can give me 125 and also give me, you know, 2.5 months to move, then I'll go ahead and go with you, because he found another house that he can move into, but it wouldn't be ready for 2.5 months. So anyways, long story short, I was super stubborn, stuck on my number at 120. You know, again, I think that is smart in a lot of cases, but man, when it's that close. Now, let me back up a little bit. Initially, he asked for 115, and I was even kind of trying to get it closer to 100. So, and I never gave him a price at all, to be honest. Eventually, you know, by the second or third call, I did say, okay, because then he came up to 120. And then I said, okay, I'm going to make the 120 work so that we can get this done. And you can move on and move into something more affordable, move away from the house that you have all these, you know, bad feelings in at this point, because his wife passed away while he lived there. And you can just move on and start over. So, you know, long story short, this realtor's been, you know, in his ear the whole time, and he ended up telling me, you know, yesterday or a couple days ago that the 125 thing, and I just stuck to the 120. But I did say, you know, if I give you the 125, you know, we can get this done quickly. But he wanted somewhere to move. So in the meantime, I found somewhere for him to move that's affordable, way cheaper than he's doing now. But and that's what I told him today, and he already signed with the realtor. So I said all that just to say that I'm probably not going to get the deal at this point because I was stubborn. I should have went ahead and did the 125, but it's not over till it's over. I don't know that he signed for sure. He just has intent to sign, maybe. I don't know, because I didn't get to talk to him very long. So I am just going to go ahead and call him and just see if I can get somewhere with him. His name is Dogomar. It's a weird name. Come on, man. Answer your phone. He never answers the first time, but almost always has the second or third time.
Por favor,
He's Hispanic, if you couldn't tell by the message. So I'm going to try him again, see if he answers. And he always acts like he doesn't know me. I'm like, you haven't said my number yet?
Hello?
Hey, Dogomar, how you doing?
Fine. Who's this?
Hey, this is Graylan. We've been talking several days now about your house. So,
I don't want to do it. I want to fix. I'm fixing the house. I don't want to do it like that.
did you already sign with that realtor lady?
Yeah.
You already did? You signed up a contract with her?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, because I really... Yeah, you gone. That's tough. So, so I lost it because I was stubborn. This happened to me before, several years ago when I was actively, doing acquisitions in the business when I first started. So it's been almost 6 years, but there was a house that I ended up paying more for it. I actually did get the deal, but I ended up paying $10,000 more because I was stubborn in the initial conversations trying to get it lower when, it is what it is. It's just sales. But yeah, I lost this deal to this other lady. But at the same time, I'm going to schedule a follow-up in probably July 31st, so in a month, a little over a month, because you never know what happens. And that's what I tell my team too. This business is highly driven by follow-up. Most sales are, but this, I feel like even more so, because you got to think about this. Sellers are selling a property, which, most people do that 1, 2, or 3 times in their life, right? So it's one of the biggest assets that they have and one of the biggest decisions that they have to make. So, oftentimes they end up coming back around, because something might happen to where this lady runs out of money. The realtor lady, real estate in the retail market is tough in today's time. With these 7 or 8% interest rates, and how's it sitting on the market forever? The average realtor sells 1 house a year. So think about that for a minute. But you never know. She might run out of money to where the house doesn't even get finished and then leaves him high and dry. So then he's even in a tougher situation. So that could happen. The point is, I'm going to keep him on a follow-up. I'm going to manually follow up in about 30 days. And then if it's still not getting anywhere, I'll put them on an automatic drip campaign. So I'd highly suggest y'all use drip campaigns. If you don't know what that is, it's basically putting them on automated follow-up. And our follow-up actually consists of 3 different types of follow-up. So we're going to send text messages, emails, and RVMs. And the RVMs are actually me. Even my whole team uses these same follow-ups. But it just drops a message every few days or so, depending on which follow-up they have, because we've got aggressive ones, we've got more passive ones that are like once every few weeks, right? So I'm going to put them on that follow-up probably after the 30 day if it's the same situation. But you never know what might happen, because it's whoever is top of mind at the time that they need you is who ultimately wins. And I made this example just last week. I got a deal, and I was just going through our long-term follow-up, so it doesn't affect. It's the leads that nobody manually calls, right? They're all on automation. So automation follows up with these leads, and then if they happen to reply, we have an AI bot that actually kicks in and has a conversation with them, and even tries to book an appointment for our acquisition manager. people think it's a real person. We've got 10,000 or so leads in our system, and all of them are on follow-up that aren't like hot or interested, like current right now leads. So probably 8,000 or 9,000 of those, well, probably more than that, 9,500 of them probably are on automatic follow-up. But our AI bot kicks in and has a conversation, and that's super powerful because it'll actually reactivate a lot of the old leads without having to have a follow-up specialist or, somebody on the phones all the time, kind of trying to warm up those leads again. We have automation doing it, and then AI booking appointments for our acquisition managers. So those are powerful. But my point was, I actually was just calling some of the long-term nurture leads, long-term follow-up leads a week ago, and I ended up getting a deal. And I looked back in our system, we actually had that deal for 2 years, that lead for over 2 years. And I looked at all the previous, it's been through 3 acquisition managers. So I was the 4th one to touch it. Also, that it had, I think, 38 different follow-up messages between texting and phone calls between all the 3 acquisition managers. So I happened to just call. I called 3 times. She answered, I think, the 3rd time, and kind of had a little conversation, but it was pretty much like, yeah, take me off your list is basically what she said. And I'm like, well, what's going on? She's like, well, I've done contracts with other people, and most of these people are trying to wholesale it, and that just doesn't work. We've had 3 or 4 deals bust, and I'm just tired of that. So just take me off your list. So I started looking at her property, and the numbers a little closer. And I said, you know what? I think if I can give you this price, you'd be happy with that, right? She's like, yeah, if you could do that, but I just don't trust wholesalers anymore or any companies like that. I'm like, well, you can look us up. We do a ton of deals nationwide, but a ton in your area as well. So I implore you to look us up and kind of look into us a little bit. But I will say, if you can give us this price, we can get this deal done for sure, and you can move on. She's like, okay, well, I'll sign the contract, but I'm still not confident. So I was like, okay, that's fair. So I had her on the phone. It's another tip. Always be on the phone with your seller as they sign, just in case they have questions, but more importantly, to make sure they sign. So she actually signed the contract. It got pushed to our disposition manager. Our dispo manager is the best. She's really good and diligent, turns every stone to get deals, even impossible deals sold. Anyway, she had that sold, within a handful of days, and now it's assigned, and we're going to make money on that. So the whole point of that is we've got acquisition managers. I currently have 6 of them. 2 of them are kind of part-time, but 4 are full-time. But they, a lot of the old timer, the ones that we've had around a while, like to say that we need more leads. They think new leads are the only way they're going to get deals. So that's the only reason I was doing actual long-term follow-up calls, to prove them wrong, right? I'm like, most deals are going to take, a couple of dozen touches before you even get the deal. And, they just, yeah, sure, new leads are great. And if you catch them, right away, like I said, PPC leads, that's what we do. So there are a lot of cold one-time closes, and maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, touch closes. But also we have all these other leads that are super viable. And I always say the old leads are even better than the new leads because the work is already done. Somebody before you, or maybe you, that's why notes are important, and having a CRM is important. Like, all the work was already done. So we already knew the condition, we already knew the situation, we already pulled comps. Sometimes if it's several months that we've talked to them, maybe those comps are old. Still gives us an idea though of what the price might be. But you definitely got to pull the newer comps. But anyways, I like the old leads because there's more information, and it's just a lot easier because a lot of the work's done. So that call that I actually got that deal, I mean, it literally probably only lasted for 5 to 6 minutes. And usually you got to be on the phone for a good 20, 30 minutes by the time you're really getting into the, negotiating with them. So it was just a good lesson to let them know that, yeah, this was a 2-year-old lead went through 3 different acquisition managers and over 38 touches, and I got the contract. Yeah, part of it's probably luck, but I wouldn't have had that luck if I didn't actually pick up the phone and call. So anyways, I was hoping to do some cold calls for you guys, or not cold, but warm calls from our current leads. You got to hear one guy that, he already found his solution, unfortunately. But nevertheless, hopefully you learned a little something just by the nuggets I've gave you, along the way. If you did learn anything or like this content, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the like button or the heart button wherever you might see this content. I put out a lot of videos. This is the first long form video I've done in a while, so I'm going to start doing a little bit more of these, but hopefully you liked it. But definitely like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.